Hi everybody and welcome to today's vlog. First, I just made sure that my Wi-Fi is switched off because I do not want anybody interrupting us. Today, I want to make sure that this video is going to be as clear as possible so that you guys can, understand what this job is all about. So, I am going to be talking to you about the customer service role, and to be specific, the positions that they are mentioning down here. So they say that they're looking for position 1 will be the customer facing role, and the position 2 will be the back office role. So for position 1, that's the on the customer service role, they are looking for an airport service agent, EK stroke Dnata, and Marhaba Service agent. Today, I want to explain to you what an airport service agent, what they do, what is EK, what is Dnata, and what is Marhaba Service agent. So stay tuned to this video and I'm sure you will learn a lot. So for this job, Emirates Airline just requires you to speak fluent English. They would appreciate you if you're speaking another language, but if you speak English, that is perfectly enough. So, what is an airport service agent? So, an airport service agent is a staff, or this is the department that works at the airport, that handles check-in, that handles boarding, that handles transfer desks, that handles, you may call them connection desks, that handles lounges, that handles, what do you call them? Let me see, an accompanied minor, that handles arrivals, departure and stuff like that. So I will try as much as possible to explain each and every role that I've mentioned. So a check-in agent is that staff who will sit at the desk and welcome passengers who are checking in. The passengers will hand them the passport and tell the staff where they're flying to, and the staff will make sure that they print the boarding pass, load the bags, make sure that the bags are tagged to the right destination, and make sure the boarding pass matches the destination that the passenger is going to. The check-in agent also checks for things like visas. He or she checks things like passport validity. Make sure that that person matches the passport, because there are cases where where a father is traveling and accidentally comes to the airport with the wife's passport. So profiling the passenger is part of this staff's job. So now let's go to boarding gate. You heard me mention the word boarding gate, boarding agent. So a boarding agent, so once the customer checks in and goes to the gate where the passenger will board the flight, so the staff who handles the passengers at the boarding gates is called a boarding agent. So what do? Here, they do not necessarily have to look at the passport, but there are times when you have to scan the passport, especially if the passenger is on transit, or if the passenger had checked in online and went through to the immigration without going to the check-in agent. So because the boarding agent is the first point of contact with the customer, then in that case, then the boarding agent might scan the passport just to make sure that all details are right and they are on the system. So the boarding agent, their main job is to take the boarding pass, scan the boarding pass on their machine to board the passenger, call out the name of the passenger just to make sure that this is the right passenger, because you remember airport safety and security is key. So calling out the name of the passenger, that can alert you in case that passenger is holding someone else's boarding pass. So if I say Mr. Mwangi and this guy's name is not Mr. Mwangi, maybe there was a problem at check-in, and because human is to error, the check-in agent might accidentally check in the wrong passenger, and so this guy will be like, hey, that's not my name, and you'll be like, hold up, sir. So that way you are going to be save the big mess that would happen if that passenger gets on board and gets to a wrong destination, because passengers don't pay attention to these boarding passes. So once you go through training, they are going to teach you on the key things to look when you're looking at the boarding pass. That is the name, the destination, the date, the time. Make sure what else, the barcode is reading correctly, because sometimes some barcodes won't read. So make sure that you print a boarding pass with a clear barcode. All right. So those are the few responsibilities of a boarding agent. In case there is a missing passenger, they will page for the passenger at the airport. Also, they will go to check on board to make sure that the passenger is not on board, because some passengers will miss the boarding gate when it's really busy. Some passengers, like if it's a big family traveling with children, one of the kid might sneak in, and so you have to be very alert. Make sure that there's no passenger who's on board who has not been boarded, because that will be a very big delay, making sure that protocol is followed. Okay, so are we together when it comes to boarding it? So I'm just handling the airport service agent. So I'm mentioning the different kind of people who work under that position. So the other position that I mentioned are the transfer or connecting desks. So as usual, as you know, in the airport, there are people who are connecting. What is connecting? Let's say, for instance, there is Mr. Mwangi traveling from Nairobi to Dubai, Dubai to Chicago. So once this Mr. Mwangi arrives in Dubai, the procedure of moving from one flight to another, that's called connecting or transfer to another flight. So there are chances that Mr. Mwangi wants to make sure that his bag is really tagged all the way to the final destinations. There are times when the staff will forget to add the connecting flight that is Chicago, which is the final destination to Mr. Mwangi. So Mr. Mwangi wants to make sure that he doesn't board the flight and leave his bags behind. So Mr. Mwangi will arrive in Dubai. Probably he has like 5 hours layover. You remember the terminology that we used when I was teaching you about flight attendant? A layover. A layover is that period between your arrival flight to the departure flight. That period where you're just at the airport waiting for your next flight to start boarding. So because Mr. Mwangi has 5 hours to, hang around the airport, make sure that, so Mr. Mwangi will go to the connecting desk and ask the staff, hey, would you kindly check if my bags are fully tagged to the final destination? And then the staff will, your bags, I see that your bags were just tagged to Dubai. Do you have a connecting flight? Mr. Mwangi will say yes. The staff will be like, what's your final destination? Mr. Mwangi will say Chicago. The staff will ask for the boarding pass, the passport, make sure that it aligns with the ticket. Connecting staff or the transfer desk staff will make sure that the bags will be tagged to the right destination, the right date and time. All right, because we do have different flights. So Mr. Mwangi will probably take the flight that goes to Chicago in the next 5 hours. All right, so all these details. There are chances where the gates, Mr. Mwangi will depart from Nairobi and the staff in Nairobi will tell Mr. Mwangi, when you get to Dubai, here is your boarding pass to Chicago. So the gate says A16. So Mr. Mwangi arrives in Dubai and wants to really make sure that his gate is still A16. So where does he go? If he really doesn't want to check on the screens on the wall, he can go to the transfer desk or connecting desk and just confirm where his gate is. There are many more examples where connecting desks or connection desks are very important, and why we need staff at the connecting desk or transfer desks, if I do say so myself. So in cases where passengers are in between flights and they want to make sure, they want to change seats, they want to upgrade from economy to business class or business class to first class. So upgrading is paying a fee to change class in the plane. All right, so an upgrade, or probably the passenger wants to buy, let's say he wants to put something on the system. There are more requests that passengers do, so they will go to the transfer desk and all those things will be sorted even before he takes his connecting flight. All right, so the other staff is the staff that works at the unaccompanied minor. Unaccompanied minors are children who travel alone without their parents, so the airline takes fully responsibility of these passengers, this young unaccompanied minor. Some of them they end up traveling on a connecting flight, or some Dubai will be their final destination. So when they are on board, flight attendants really take good care of them. When they are on the ground, there are staff who are assigned to work at the unaccompanied minor department under the airport service agent that will help these children go to their unaccompanied minor lounge. There is a big lounge for these children. They don't just go share lounges with with other big people. Their lounge is kids friendly. They have screens, they have PS, they have PlayStation. That's what I mean by PS. They have cards, they have TV, they have beds, they have toys, everything that will keep a child playful and happy. They have snacks, they have things that will keep them busy as they wait for their next flight, connecting flight. If this unaccompanied minor final destination is Dubai or wherever they are traveling to, the staff who is allocated to help that child will escort them up until the arrival, where the staff will hand over the child or the unaccompanied minor to the designated person who is picking up the child, whether it's the parent, whether it's the guardian, whether it's whoever who's on the list. Okay, so those are a list of people who work under the airport service agent department. So that I wanted to make that clear so that you guys can understand that airport service agent, it has so many other departments under it that you might end up working. The other place under the airport service agent is the baggage handling. There are staff who handle bags, so they have an office where they will receive lost bags. Like the way Mr. Mwangi went to the connection desk to find out if his bag is sent to the final destination. There are passengers who will assume that happened, or maybe not even assume. They will put their trust on an airport, on a staff. They will put their trust on the airport staff and think, you guys already know your job. You should know that I'm going to Chicago. And yet sometimes your ticket doesn't show us that you're going to Chicago because you made two separate tickets. But if you made that one ticket, Nairobi, Dubai, Chicago, then the staff will definitely know that you're going to Chicago. But if you made two separate tickets, you paid them separately, then unless you tell the staff, then no one will, they will not know. So it's always good to know what to tell your staff who's checking you in, who's booking your ticket, who's doing all this stuff. Okay, so those are some of the tips that I'm giving you guys in case you are planning to travel and you're planning to book your ticket with an agent or booking it yourself. Those are the things that you should consider remembering to do. All right, so the other thing that I want to explain is the EK and Dnata. As it says here, airport service agent EK stroke Dnata. So what is EK? EK is Emirates Airlines. So the abbreviation for EK is the abbreviation for Emirates is EK. So EK stands for Emirates Airlines, okay? Just like the way Qatar Airways is QR, or the way Kenya Airways is KQ, and so many other. So these abbreviations, some of them make sense, some of them don't, but you will get to understand them once you start working in an airport, once you start going for training, either for flight attendant or ground staff. They will be so familiar to you that you will, if you see an airline code, you will know that for sure, That's that airline. All right. So EK stands for Emirates, and then Dnata, this is the mother company to Emirates. So before Emirates existed, Dnata was the company. So Dnata handles any other airline that arrives in Dubai. So let me tell you guys, if you've never been to Dubai, the airport that handles Emirates flights is separate than the airport that handles any other flight. So if you have a friend and you're traveling Emirates and your friend is traveling Kenya Airways, you will not be in the same terminal. You guys will go to separate terminals. So you might end up going to terminal 3 if you're traveling with Emirates, and your friend who's traveling with KQ might end up going to terminal 1. So Emirates or Dubai or UAE has 3 terminals at the in Dubai. So terminal 1, terminal 2, and terminal 3. Terminal 1 and Terminal 2 are handled by Dnata. So these are any other airlines from America, from Europe, from Kenya, from South Africa, from Asia, any airline from Africa, any airline that is not Emirates will land or depart from Terminal 1 or 2. Is that clear? Good. If there is anyone traveling via Emirates, then you for sure know that your terminal is Terminal 3. And let me tell you guys, the airport is huge. Terminal 3 is huge. So you know how many destinations Emirates flies? It flies to almost all, it goes all around the world. So imagine all those flights. And some of these flights, they have like 3 flights in a day. Like Nairobi has 3 flights. In one day, it has a morning flight, it has an evening flight, and on top of that, I think there are 2 or 3 cargo flights that flies to Nairobi every single day. So imagine all those aircrafts depart from Terminal 3, and there are staff handling those aircrafts. So imagine how many gates, how many boarding gates, imagine how many check-in counters there are, considering the fact that there are destinations that Emirates flies like 3 times in a day. All right, so it's massive, it's huge. So are we together when it comes to EK and Dnata? So what I want to say that this airport service job, they say that they will be hiring multiple people, because this position, airport service agent, they're looking for people to be located in either EK, that's Emirates, or Dnata. So you will not know where they will position you up until they hire you. So once they hire you, they will tell you you will be working for Dnata or Emirates. They're one company, the salary is the same, benefits is the same, workflow is the same. So everything will be the same. The only difference that will be is that you will be working for in Terminal 3 or Terminal 1 or 2 if you're working for Dnata. But the accommodation that they provide for you, which is free of charge if you choose to live in the accommodation, it is absolutely the same. It is in the absolutely same area code. So there is nothing different. And the only difference is probably the uniform. But everything else will be the same. All right, guys. So that is all. So let me just be quick. I see we're already in minute 20. Marhaba Service Agent is another department that also works at the airport. They have a different uniform. So all these 3 departments, EK, Dnata, and Marhaba, they all wear different uniforms. You all know what Emirates wear. I always post their pictures here. Dnata, they wear a very beautiful uniform. I love Dnata's uniform, and it's almost similar to Marhaba Service Agent. So Dnata, the uniform is blue and white and there's a beautiful color. I'll share their photos here. While Marhaba, they wear kind of similar with Dnata, but their uniform is pink and some other beautiful colors. I'll share their uniform here. That's the only difference. So Marhaba Service Agent, their job is to welcome people to Dubai. Their job is like to escort. So if there are VIPs or there are people traveling in a flight, either arriving or departing, Marhaba will be the department that handles the escort. So once they know that you're traveling and you're a VIP, if you're hired by Emirates or Dnata or Marhaba, once you arrive in Dubai, you will be received by an agent from Marhaba Service agent at the arrival. They will receive you, or at the aircraft once you get off the plane, they will be down there with your name with a beautiful smile. They'll guide you all through, up until you pick up your bags, up until you board your transport to take you to your accommodation. They also handle VIPs. Let's say they are big celebrities, Steve Harvey, Chris Rock, all these big celebrities, actors, Hollywood, Bollywood, name them, big celebrities from all over the world. They handle their escorts, so because they are VIPs, so they will handle their escorts. But besides VIPs, there are passengers who don't want to hassle when they get to the airport, because they don't want to get lost. So what do? Some passengers will pay for this service. So people will say, hey, I have a quick connection and I don't want to miss my flight, so I would want Marhaba Service, so that they can, because they know the airport, they know their whereabouts. I'm sure they will guide me well. So some people pay an extra fee to get these services, but usually it's absolutely free for VIPs or people who are selected by Emirates as VIPs. When you get this job, you will be a VIP, and therefore you will get to be received by Marhaba staff. They will treat you well. They will make sure you got everything. They'll take you to the carousel. A carousel is where you receive your bags. So once you check in your bag and it goes to the plane and you arrive to your destination, the place where you go pick up your bag is called a carousel. So they'll take you there. They'll help you get a trolley that you can put your bag, so you can push your bag up until they take you to what do you call it? Not a taxi. Yeah, they'll take you to the taxi, where you pick up your taxi and take you to your accommodation. So that's Marhaba. So their job is like to escort VIPs and Marhaba clients, and accompanied minors as well, or passengers with special needs. Passengers with special needs are handled by Marhaba Service. So guys, I just wanted to make sure that you are aware what these positions entails, so that you know that you're applying for a good company, good position that has good salary, free accommodation if you want to stay in the company's accommodation. It's not mandatory, it's actually optional, so you can decide, I want to live outside, or I want to stay in the company's accommodation. I do have a video here on YouTube where I'm talking about company's accommodation for both cabin crew and ground staff. So if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch it and see how that goes. Thank you guys. So if you've watched this video till here, please type airport service agent, Marhaba service agent. Okay? Guys, I love you. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and yeah, let a friend know that Emirates is hiring for this position. They don't look for any age limit. I hear people asking me, what's the age limit? There's no age limit. As long as you have customer service skills, as long as you have all these qualifications, guys, you are good to go. So here they're not mentioning anything to do with weight or BMI. Age is not there. The only language that they say they want you to fluency in both spoken and written English, period. So if you don't speak any other language, that's not mandatory. If you speak English, that is good. Okay. If you finished high school, if you have an interpersonal customer service skills, if you've helped people, that's customer service. So go ahead and apply. And this is the customer service role at Emirates and Dnata. This is one company. I wish you all the best as you apply. Until next time, guys. Bye bye. Love you all.